Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and joining us for our March webinar. If you don't know me, my name is Corey Hesser, and I'm one of the program developers at Kirkwood Corporate Training. Here with us today is Dr. Celina Peerman, who I'm sure many of you here know or at least heard of. Celina has been a great partner with Kirkwood, and we are so excited that she's here with us today. Dr. Celina Peerman currently serves as an organizational psychologist with over 27 years of experience from frontline to senior level positions in a wide range of industries and organizations. She's a strategist with a sense of humor and a love for building capacity in organizations. She holds a PhD in psychology, a master's degree in business with undergraduate degrees in psychology and international studies. She's a two-time TEDx presenter, podcaster, and writer. Her content is aimed in helping teams maximize potential for an even more positive impact on those around them. If you don't know Celina, or maybe you do, I have 3 fun facts that she shared with me today. Celina has a 93-year-old grandmother that she still meets in places to travel. Absolutely amazing. I love the stories. There is no place in the world that Celina would not visit once, and her first concert was John Denver. The topic that Celina is leading today is called Leading Others Through Change. This is a shorter webinar as it's a teaser topic to Celina's full 4-hour session that she will be presenting for our Leadership in Manufacturing Alumni Series. This topic can also be customized to fit other industries as well, so we are so happy to have you all here. All right, Celina, I'm going to go ahead and hand it right on over to you.
Sounds good, Corey. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, or if you're listening to the recording later. It has been an absolute pleasure to partner with Kirkwood Corporate Training over the years, not only for leadership and manufacturing levels 1 and 2, but as we've developed the alumni course, it's really been about what are some of the most current and relevant topics representing some of the challenges we have as leaders at all levels as we aim to make a mark and make an impact as an organization. So whether you're listening today and watching this as part of the Leadership in Manufacturing series and you're thinking about joining us in the alumni program, if you've completed tier 1 or tier 2, or if there's a customized option that we can provide for you and your team on this topic, I want to share with you really 5 core points today to think about change with some new perspective. And while there are many tools we can talk about and teach in our courses, when it comes to change, I'm going to share with you 5 of my favorite points that we need to think about as we not only understand our own response to change, but how we lead others through change. We know that change is absolutely critical for how we live this life. If we're not changing, we're not here. And yet at a time when it feels like there is so much change coming at us, what can we do to not only understand our own response to change, but from a leadership perspective, help other people navigate it as well? Whether you are a people leader, a project leader, or a technical leader, I always bring us back to the fact that leaders know how to meet people where they're at, not where they expect them to be. As leaders, we're aiming towards goals, but we have to bring people with us. So whether I'm an individual contributor or whether I'm a leader with a title and a set of responsibilities or somewhere in between, I want us to consider today the role of change and what our responsibilities are when it comes to not only understanding change, but leading other people through it. Consider the following questions and how you might complete them. I like change that, ... If you happen to be attending this live and you want to drop a note in the chat room, what kinds of change do you like? Even a different version of that question. Here we go. Number 2, I dislike change that. What is some of the change that's hardest for you? It doesn't take us long to really think about, there are changes we like, and there are changes we just would really like to close our eyes, plug our ears, and go, no, 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 no. So change is happening around us all the time. There are different types of change. Some of that change we like, some of that change is harder. Within teams and organizations, no matter whatever change we roll out, there's usually a group of people that just run with it. You wish you could clone them because they just adjust faster. There are those of us in the middle. Takes us a little longer, but eventually we get there. And then there's that other group. Okay, not that person, but there's those other folks that go, nope, don't want to, can't make me. We have all different types of response to change. Some change we like, some change we're more challenged by. What is our responsibility in that? It's to understand first the need to change, understand that change is going to happen. Here's what I want you to consider though. While change is going to happen, being change ready is a choice. That's been a topic we've been looking at a lot within organizations, because under this time with rapid rates and pace of change, we know it's going to keep coming at us. The question is how we respond. I like us to consider that change readiness is a choice. We can make plans around that. We can anticipate what might come next. We can put ideas and practices in place that help us be more adaptable. So point number one for our time together is that change is going to happen. Being change ready is a choice. Consider what ways you are change ready, maybe what change you like and that you're ready for. What are some changes that you are not as fond of or that you struggle with? Can you do some research? Can you put some processes together? Can you practice adapting in various different types of scenarios to be even more change ready? Let me tell you a short story. We all have our stories of 2020. I'm not going to dwell there long, but I'm going to tell you one of mine. Now, that fun fact that Corey had just shared with you, in October of 2019, I had flown in to surprise my grandmother who was vacationing in Sydney, Australia. And at that point, we were worried about fires in Australia and some changing things in the world, but we really didn't understand what was coming next. It was starting to come on our radar screen, and we just weren't sure what was that going to be like. So in January of 2020, I was with a leadership and manufacturing group here at Kirkwood Corporate Training, and I asked a question that did not age well. I asked a question to the group that sounded like this: how many of you in the room today have had your supply chain impacted by the virus in China? Yeah, that question did not age well. I said those words. Now, interestingly enough, in that room of about 30 people from manufacturers all over the corridor, half of them raised their hands. Only half, because we didn't know what we didn't know at that point. In February of 2020, a co-facilitator and I were conducting some business continuity training with that same group. And we presented a scenario that said this: if you couldn't travel as of next week, what would you do? If your team couldn't travel as of next week, how would your company run? Now, what I love about that is the group laughed at us. They're like, that would never happen. And these were great, smart people. We didn't know what we didn't know. By March, we were on Zoom. Here's what I know, is that if I were to put that scenario in front of you right now and say, what would you do if your team couldn't travel as of next week? You would be like, duh, got this. We can adjust. We have practices in place now. We'll be ready. So part of this is we learn along the way. We learn how to adapt. We learn how to be ready if we put the time and attention to it. We may not know what's coming next, but we make a choice in how we prepare for it. Number two, consider change as an event. It's the process afterwards that's really hard. We announce something effective Monday. That's the event. It's getting people to adjust afterwards of where the challenge is. Maybe in your role, in your organization, we do a lot of prep to make the announcement. But a lot of the research out there clearly identifies the value in the process, that we have to be able to move people through that process to help them successfully adjust and then see it through in the long haul. Because if you look at the definition of learning, it is change in behavior over time. And if we don't sustain that over time, it simply becomes an announcement, an event, and lasting sustainable change does not happen. Consider this. If you have ever rolled out a new practice, a new policy, let's take a PPE, right? Personal protective equipment, something new that you are adopting that effective Monday people need to comply with. If we roll it out on Monday and don't understand the importance of sustaining the change over time, if we don't reinforce it, if we don't make it a new habit, if we don't talk about the importance of it, then people try it for a while. And then if nobody's looking and it's in my way and I don't see the value of it and I'm not being held accountable for it, it's so easy to drop off and not see that change through. Maybe for today, it might be helpful for you to consider that change is more than an event. Change management is a process. There's preparation phase, there's execution phase, and there's follow-up. In the course, we actually look at different models to help us not only visualize that, but explain it to others and teach them those practices. Number 4, recognize that there are different types of change. Not all change is built equally or has the same impact. So our strategies also need to be diverse. Is this a planned change or an unplanned change? What is the risk involved with the change? If it only impacts me and I know it, then my response will be different if it's unplanned and high risk and it impacts one of my biggest customers. Change is not built in the same way. So as leaders, if we can understand different types of change, slow to change, fast to change, small impact, big impact, low risk, high risk. There are other criteria that we work through in the class to understand the makeup or the chemistry of the change so we can deploy the best efforts to navigate what comes next. So remember, there are different types of change. If we can name and identify it, we can come up with better solutions on how to navigate or even problem solve unexpected detours. I also think about the importance, number 4, of normalizing change as a process and with uncertainty. So normalize doubt during change. As a leader on a team, there are days I need to be confident and forward-looking. Even during times of unexpected or unplanned change, sometimes my team needs to see me as a motivator, confident, and focused. But there are other days my team may need to see me a little bit more vulnerable, a way to be able to say to them, I hear you. I'm not sure either. And yet I can express confidence in the team. I can share with them maybe my own doubts. I can share with them that we don't have this figured out yet, that I may not have all of the details they want. Maybe they hear me talk about struggling with it too. Now, not always do we want to show that side, but there is a way to connect through that. There is a way to share enough that's appropriate for the situation to let other people know that you are also navigating or walking along the same path. So I love the idea that we need to normalize doubt during change because there is a momentum that comes with rolling something out. So point number 5 for our time together is to understand the momentum of change. There are actually a number of models out there that try to describe what we have said culturally for years. And it sounds something like this. Well, we rolled this out and it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 4 steps forward, and hopefully not 18 steps backwards. There is a rate and a pace to change. When we roll something out, there's a lot of energy that goes with it. We've done the prep, we've done the research for 1 hour, for 1 day, for a year. The timelines vary based on what you're experiencing. But when you go to roll something out, there's a lot of effort that goes with that. Then it evens out. So we roll it out and then it evens out. And that is when we refine, maintain, learn, build new skill sets, get used to it. Okay, you know that phrase that used to not be as irritating as it is maybe now. We get used to the new normal. I swear I was never going to use that phrase again. And there it is, right? We get used to the new normal. We adjust. What was once unknown is now known. So once we roll something out with that energy and it maintains, have you ever noticed that sometimes you take 3 steps backwards? As a leader, you roll out change to your team and you're like, we're going well, which is good. Everything's fine. We're in good shape. And then it all feels like it falls apart in like an hour or a day when you're like, what the heck happened? We were doing so well. And now not so much. The momentum of change reminds us that we do take 2 steps forward. We also even out. And sometimes those backward steps are really amazing moments. I want us to pay attention that if we have lost some footing, if we've made some mistakes, that's our opportunity to learn it. That's our opportunity as a leader to be situationally aware and help take it back up to the next level so our team can move forward. This weight of leadership, this pathway to leading teams is not an easy one. In fact, with a sense of humor, I often say if you are leading teams and it's easy, we might be missing a few things. Now, I'm not saying it can't be easier when you're leading effectively and you have a great team around you that is doing fantastic work. But this is a heavy weight we carry. It comes with a set of responsibilities to understand not only our response to change, but how we help others through it. So for this time out today, our time in this space, or if you join me for the upcoming class or any of the other courses available through Kirkwood Corporate Training, what I want you to consider is how do you show up in those moments, understanding your best approach, who else can be a resource for you, and recognizing that sometimes leadership can be lonely, but we never lead alone. We've got people and resources around us to make an even better impact. Because as leaders, that is the responsibility that we carry with this opportunity. So to recap that, we know change is going to happen, but being change ready is a choice. Change is often seen as an event, but really managing change is a process. When we think about different types of change, recognize not all change is the same. And for us to do our best work and preparation, execution, and follow-up, we can name and identify that type of change, who's impacted by it, and what our best practices are. Number 4, normalize doubt during change. We recognize that fear sets in, unknown sets in, doubt sets in. And if we're going to meet people where they're at, normalize the fact that not everybody likes change, is comfortable with it, and fear is a really strong motivator. So I need to make sure that I'm meeting my team where they're at and walking this with them. And lastly, There are ups and downs, sideways steps, backward steps, all different types of combinations when it comes to progress over time at work during change. Give yourself a little bit of space. If this week or today or tomorrow you take 3 steps backwards, because that's our opportunity to look, learn, and listen a little bit more so that it drives energy and potential and momentum back forward. Because at the end of the day, this is about our continuous improvement, being better today than we were yesterday, and being better tomorrow than we are today. I do hope you'll consider coming to see us for one of the programs at Kirkwood Corporate Training. While many of my stories are corny and the sense of humor remains sometimes a little cheesy, right? It is this time that we have to learn together, laugh together, support each other along the way. And I'm happy to join you in doing that. So let's bring Corey back out. She's always there, making sure it's all working in the background. Corey, what else should we finish off with for today?
Fabulous. Well, now would be a great time. If you have any questions, to place them in the chat. Celina and I will definitely stay on for a few minutes to make sure that those are answered. I will also be launching a quick poll. So if you could please fill that out, it would be greatly appreciated. And for any of you that are attending that have taken LIM Tier 1 or LIM Tier 2, or maybe both, and you want more information on how to get yourself a seat for a LIM alumni program that will start in October of 23, you can contact myself or Kirkwood Corporate Training at 319-398-5623. And it looks like we have a question.
We do. When the change is a new manager. Couple of thoughts there, Joe. Great question. So if I have a new manager coming into a team, there are actually some exercises. They're called manager assimilation exercises, where it's a set of questions that the new leader might ask of the team and the team can ask of the leader. There's actually a couple of interesting processes to help that, because one of the things with a new manager and a team is there's some history, there's some memories, there's some doubt. What's this going to be like? What will they lead like? What will it be to work for them? A point of resistance is always the risk of a new manager and how will this relationship work? Because we get nervous. So I would encourage us to ask questions, to learn from each other, because what we're trying to do in that moment is build some relationships. And when it's new and it's uncertain, we get nervous. So it's a great opportunity to initiate a conversation, share some goals, honor the past and the past practices, but decide how we're going to move forward together. And you can always find me through Kirkwood Corporate Training. There's some other lists or resources that I can provide about those models or others if there's something else that comes to mind. Great question, Joe. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Fabulous. Well, I appreciate everyone joining us today, and I really hope that you're able to gain some tools to take with you. Another big thank you to Celina for taking time out of your busy schedule to share the knowledge with us today. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll now, and you all are free to go. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.